I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta.
The Metaverse is a potential trillion-dollar industry, and companies worldwide are now racing to capitalize on it. Zuck is betting big on the Metaverse, with plans to invest over $180 billion into the Metaverse over the next 10 years. To put that into context, Apple only spent $150 million on developing the original iPhone. With billions of users through Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and even their own virtual reality company, Oculus, you would think Meta is well positioned to take on the Metaverse. But it looks like Zuck's Metaverse is about to collapse before it even launches. The Meta rebrand is Zuck's redemption story. In the last few years, the company's been heavily scrutinized for data mismanagement and antitrust. And Meta recently saw its market value drop by $280 billion in a single day due to changes in how the iPhone allows apps to track its users. A change that Google is likely to implement as well. Zuck believes that the Metaverse is the successor of the internet, and he needs to put Meta in the driver's seat instead of being at the mercy of companies like Apple and Google. The Metaverse will span all computing devices, and Zuck believes VR will be a huge part in this. In the last decade, Meta has been on a VR spending spree, but so far Meta's VR ambition has been a failure. Zuck bought Oculus 2 years after the purchase of Instagram at twice the price. But today, Instagram is bringing in over 10 times the revenues of Oculus. And VR still hasn't reached mass adoption. But the opportunity is far from over. The video game market is huge and growing rapidly. There are almost 3 billion gamers worldwide, and the video game market is expected to grow to $250 billion by 2025, from today's $180 billion. And VR is actually making a mark. In 2021, the Oculus Quest 2 actually outsold the Xbox. But if Zuck wants mainstream adoption, he needs VR to reach the quality of more traditional gaming platforms. And it's not just there yet.
Finally, as the digital and physical worlds come together, we are creating an entirely new platform layer, which is the Metaverse.
Meta is not alone in its plans to conquer the Metaverse. Basically, every major tech company has announced plans to enter the Metaverse race. Microsoft has slowly become a giant in the gaming industry and has acquired several large gaming companies, most recently Activision Blizzard. Their library of games now includes World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Fallout, the Elder Scrolls series, and Minecraft. Microsoft's gaming library is now massive, and it's clear that they are making moves toward capturing an increasing stake in the gaming market, a market that is highly fragmented and up for grabs. Microsoft has introduced the Game Pass to attract more players into the Microsoft ecosystem, and it already has over 25 million subscribers. The platform has a Netflix-like subscription model that gives players access to all Microsoft-owned games for a low monthly price. Unlike Meta, Microsoft isn't focusing on hardware, but on the software and the content that will dominate the Metaverse. This is the same strategy that they used with PCs, where they ignored the hardware and focused on building the software, which turned out to be a much larger market. And content is something Meta can't compete with. With Meta's efforts being mainly hardware focused, its content library is severely lacking.
But there is one more thing that I want to talk about.
Apple has said that they are not focused on the Metaverse, but they do have an ace up their sleeve: augmented reality. Apple currently has the largest AR platform and are working hard to blend digital and physical experiences. If the Metaverse will span all computing devices, AR will have a spot in the Metaverse. And this will be a big problem for Meta. VR is a destination, AR is an accompaniment. VR demands 100% of your attention for hours. AR is something that can be used while doing other things. And when you only have 24 hours in a day, it's very hard to convince people to dedicate a chunk of them to one activity. And this is a big pain point for VR. People also always carry their iPhone with them. This means that if Apple wants to expand their AR capabilities to maybe a pair of AR goggles, they can offload computation from the goggles to the iPhone, making the goggles both smaller and cheaper, which is an effective way to gain mainstream success. Apple is a hardware company and has been since the start. They even recently launched their own chip specifically suited for their products. Meta still needs to find a way to navigate from social media giant to a hardware company. VR will most likely not be a winner-take-all market. There will be brand preferences, especially with Meta's controversial past. Just like how some people prefer Android over iPhone or Mac over PC, some people would prefer HTC or Varjo over Oculus. And Meta's hardware focus raises another big question. Will Oculus be Meta's iPhone, or will it be their Xbox? The iPhone is a cash cow for Apple due to its high profit margin. Consoles like Xbox, on the other hand, are sold at break-even or very low margins to get as many players as possible and sell more games, because that's where the real money is at for console makers. If VR turns out to have the pricing powers of consoles, it will be a major headache for Meta given their small content library. And with the antitrust scrutiny Meta is under, they will have a hard time acquiring their way into the metaverse, as it did with Instagram and WhatsApp to build a mobile internet presence. Building a dominant company in the metaverse will most likely revolve around the same principles as on the internet: a strong ecosystem, network effects, and scale advantages. This leaves Meta in a tricky situation where the only way forward is to convince third parties to develop on the Meta ecosystem, which will be a tough sell when the likes of Apple, Google, and Microsoft are competing for the same developers. Not to mention companies like Unity, Epic Games, and Nvidia. But gaming might just be the entry point for VR. Tech analyst Ben Thompson raised an important question. What if VR doesn't reach mainstream adoption through gaming, but through business? This sounds crazy, but it's happened before. PCs were first adopted by businesses because they increased worker productivity. It was only when people got used to PCs at work that they started buying their own PCs, and this spawned new consumer applications. Consumer interest is fickle and requires a lot of marketing to take off. But businesses take more variables into consideration when buying new technology: trust, reliability, price, and switching costs. And once they are in, they have a much higher chance of sticking around for the long term. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella previously switched the company's focus from Windows to an internet-centric and device-agnostic enterprise software model. Now it seems like he wants to build software centered around Microsoft Teams to launch the enterprise metaverse. But how would you even use VR when working? What did your setup look like when you were working or studying from home during the pandemic? A laptop? Maybe an extra screen? In VR, you can have as many screens as you like. Your entire field of view can be a massive monitor. You can take meetings here and be fully focused and immersed in your work environment wherever you are. Microsoft is a Trojan horse. They'll sell your company on one product and then pull you further into their ecosystem by upselling you on more of their products. This gives them a massive leg up in the enterprise metaverse since they already have their customers. And once Microsoft has tackled the business world, making people used to VR, they can leverage their growing gaming division to bring content to the casual consumer. The enterprise metaverse seems like an area where Zuck is putting a lot of focus. Meta's Horizon Workrooms allows users to take meetings, integrate their computer screens, and work in a digital environment. However, the tech is still not quite there. The Quest 2 is still low resolution, has a low battery life, and is a pain to put on if you're just making a call. And would companies even be willing to integrate their work data with a company like Meta over a tried and true company like Microsoft? While an enterprise metaverse might sound far-fetched, enterprise VR is a rapidly growing area. Semiconductor equipment giant ASML used Microsoft's HoloLens 2 to make virtual inspections and consultations during the pandemic. Unity recently announced a partnership with Hyundai to create a digital twin of a factory. And the 3D capture platform Matterport offers products and services to create digital 3D representations of the physical world. A lot of companies are opening up to the possibilities of VR and AR, and this might be the first step into the metaverse. But why is everyone so obsessed with the metaverse? Click on this video to understand how the internet will change forever.